Okay, last night we were learning about the difference between Pringles and regular potato chips, about grinding. If it's already ground or it's just sliced corn, so then you can't grind it, so then you can't crumple it. If it's already pre-ground, like Pringles or something like that, now we learned that it's not a problem mashing. Okay, the next part of this malacha is really cutting food into various different sizes. Now let's say you want to cut up fruit, watermelon, cantaloupe, whatever. And you want to cut them into squares or normal shapes, squares, triangle, things like that. Halachically, that's not a problem. Therefore, according to halacha, you can even use a scooper. Those like the fruit scoopers or ice cream scoopers for ice cream. You're allowed to use it, even though it's coming out in a shape, but it's a normal shape. But that's the way people cut things. It's not you're making a design. You're not making a special design out of that fruit. And therefore, if you can make it to squares, triangles, or round balls, it's not a problem. But if you make it into a specific shape, that's not a normal thing. Now you're making it a designated shape. Like for instance, many people, when they want to make a fancy thing, so they'll take tuna fish, make tuna salad, and then they'll make it in the shape of a fish. So that's a problem because you're designing a shape of a fish. You wouldn't be allowed to do that. What else is there? They write, or if you want to draw a picture of a person or an animal or a flower, you want to make a certain design on this thing, you wouldn't be allowed to do it on Shabbos. Not only are you not allowed to do it on Shabbos, then you have a problem. Can you cut it? Can you cut the shape? Because then you're destroying the letter or the shape or whatever that you made. Because again, we learned whatever you're not allowed to write, you can't erase. So whatever you're forming as a letter, then you wouldn't be allowed to cut it either. So let's say years ago, it's not as common as it used to be. Now they put pictures on the graves, pictures of the people. But yeah, go to the cemeteries. You see a lot of the graves have people on it. I don't know why they would be allowed to do it. But anyway, so then they used to make birthday cakes. So how do they make birthday cakes? They get you send in a picture of the kid, and then they would, with a certain utensil, they would draw a picture on the cake. Okay? So now it's a picture of a kid, of a person on the cake. And it's a distinct picture. So obviously you don't do it on Shabbos, you do it before Shabbos. But now the question is, can I cut into that cake on Shabbos? So there's a big machlekes in halacha in other words, if it's part of the cake itself, not something additional. Let's explain this like this. Many times you buy a birthday cake. Okay, so you tell the bakery, put happy birthday, whatever. Happy birthday. So now, if they write it, happy birthday, on the cake, so now the question is, can you cut those letters? Because then you're actually destroying letters. That's like mechika, which is one of the lamites malachas. It's not biblical because it's only if you erase with the intent of writing, but nevertheless, the bottom line is that you're erasing letters. If you're erasing letters, then you're not allowed to do it. So what can you do? Let's say you have a cake that says happy birthday. So a lot of the frum bakeries, especially if you tell them to do it that way, they won't write happy birthday on the cake. They'll take a piece, they used to be chocolate, then they got cheap. Then they take a piece of cardboard, a little square of cardboard, and they smear chocolate all over it. And then on top of that card, on top of this, they would write here, happy birthday. And then they would, so first you can't use cardboard, it doesn't look nice. So they'll cover it with chocolate. And then they'll write on it, happy birthday, and they'll stick it onto the cake. So then it's not a problem. You take off the cardboard, and that's it. And then you cut the cake. You're not cutting any letters. One sec. What?
Take it off off like this?
Yeah, well, you're taking it off. You're removing it to be able to eat the cake. But what happens though, you're not separating it. You just take, if I take off this sefer from this sefer, it's not separating. It's on top of it. You're just removing it like you remove a peel. It's even better. You're not removing, you're not selecting anything, you're removing. Removing is not better. But if you have, let's say, the letters on the cake, so then you can't cut the cake. Well, you could technically cut in between the letters. So let's say it's not, there's cursive writing that nobody knows how to write today. They don't even teach it to the kids in school. But if you have, let's say, printing letters, when you print letters, each letter is separate, right? So then you can cut between the letters. If you cut between the letters, it's not a problem. But you can't cut in the letter. You can cut in between the letters, but you can't cut the letter itself. What? Or let's say you have a flower on the cake. You have to be careful not to cut through the flower. Now, there are poskim that hold, and we'll get the whole discussion about this soon, that what happens if the flower is, on the contrary, the flower is on top of the cake, it's even worse. So you wouldn't even be able to cut the flower. You can cut the flower off this way. Horizontally, you can cut the flower off, because then you're not cutting the flower. But if it's a design, and you're cutting the design on Shabbos, you wouldn't be allowed to cut the middle of a design. Because again, yeah. No, the flour made out of frosting. But because it's a design, food is not a problem. But you can't write a design or cut a design on Shabbat, even for food.
But there are like ornate halas that are very clearly well designed. Is that not permitted?
That's not a problem because it's part of the challah itself. In other words, you can't make a challah in a specific shape. You can make it round, but you can't, shlisel challah, okay, well, it's not so simple, the whole thing. But if to make it into a separate, unique design and cut, it might be a shaila. But according to most poskim, the Alter Rebbe is a different story, but most poskim hold you would be allowed to do it.
So I'm going to pick a specific example. There's a bakery on Eco that makes halas in the shape of turkeys for Thanksgiving. Those are not supposed to be eaten on Shabbat.
If somebody makes a challah in the shape of a turkey in honor of Thanksgiving, so then the shaila is maybe an einis or chalalisir. But can you cut it? So according to most opinions, because it's part of the challah itself, it's not something added to the challah, you would be allowed to cut it. According to Alter Rebbe, you wouldn't be allowed to cut it. But probably, most probably. Okay, what? Yeah, do a shchit on it. So now, you have an issue like this. It's not only by the cakes, by the way. What happens if you have a biscuit? A lot of the cookies, by the way, okay, have letters in the cookie itself. There are a lot of these biscuits that they have actually letters written in it. So the shaila is, two things. Am I allowed to break it? And am I allowed to eat it? Okay? So a lot of poskim, like the Mishnah Berurah holds, that if the writing is in the thing itself, not additional writing, it's part of the cookie, he holds you're allowed to break it, and you're definitely allowed to eat it. The Alter Rebbe holds that you can't break it, okay? You can't break it, but you can eat it. Okay, it's based on different places in Alter Rebbe's Shechunah. But it's not such a simple thing, all these cookies and that, again, if you can eat it, you put it in your mouth and you chew it, so then, but that's only if the writing is in the thing itself. What happens if there's a design on it, outside of it? So, most poskim say you can't break it, because you're breaking a design, but you could eat it. The Alter Rebbe, in one place says you can't break it, in another place it says you can't eat it. So the Alter Rebbe holds you can't eat it either. That's only though if it's not a writing in the thing itself. If the writing is part of the cookie, the Alter Rebbe says you can't break it, but you couldn't eat it. It's based on the Nochas Pesach, whatever, that you can eat. Yeah. One second.
Is the turkey on top of a turkey baked into each other, is that considered like...
It's one thing.
One thing.
One thing. What?
Can you dunk the cookie in the tea?
When? On Shabbos? There's a few issues you have to keep in mind. If it's a Kli Sheni, not. If it's a Kli Shlishi, yes. And then you have to understand also if by putting it into the hot tea in a Kli Shlishi, are the letters going to become erased? If the letters are going to become erased, then you can't do it. You're erasing letters.
You're putting them out, the same thing will happen.
That's eating. This is not eating. There's the difference between acting with your hands, like we said, breaking a cookie versus eating it. So there's a difference between erasing a letter. Every time you eat something, you know, it's in your mouth, there's going to be a problem with destroying it, but that's not a problem.
If that the flour frosting that you're making, can you cut it, like take it off and then eat it too?
If you're not cutting it, you're going to bite into, let's say there's a cookie with a flour in it, on it, yeah? Those cookies, look, okay. So, maybe you're not allowed to break it, because you're breaking a design, but you could definitely bite into it and eat it. Because biting into it is not breaking, it's eating. When I break a cookie, I'm breaking the cookie. So I'm breaking the letters. When I'm eating the letters, nobody says, oh, you just broke the cookie. I didn't break the cookie, I'm eating the cookie. So it's not a din of mechika according in that way. So that's what?
There's something else. But the coffee grinders, do they have the component?
To grind coffee? Yeah. Sure, you cannot.
You cannot make it powder or smaller?
No. Unless if it's already ground completely. But if it's a piece you can make smaller, then there is tchina. If it was never ground completely, and now you're going to make ground, no, you can't.
Say you have a potato salad, it's smoothed out, and then you put cherry tomatoes, you cut cucumbers in a design of a palm tree. When you grab the cherry tomatoes, you're breaking the design?
That's not called breaking a design. You're just taking something to eat. You're not breaking the design. That's not really a design. Design is when it's a design. This is. It's not the same.
But the tuna fish design is the same as the bread or the whatever that is. Like
if you make over there, you are making the tuna fish in a design. Here you're baking the bread. Baking your bread you're doing before Shabbos. Okay, before Shabbos you can make a tuna fish out of tuna salad also. But you can't, right, because a person wants to make a bird or whatever they want to make. So on Shabbos it's a problem. But if you bake the what? Design in a palm tree? It's not really a design, you're just putting things on. A design is when you actually shape it to a certain thing, not just put on. Somebody takes some chocolate chips and put it on, so they made two eyes. They didn't make a design of two eyes. If you shape it into an eye, you're making a design of an eye. But if somebody's going to take, a cookie or whatever, and put two chocolate chips as an eye, and then take a piece of the what are they called? No, to make a lips, whatever. They take those things you eat.
You mean if you make the entire potato salad looking like a chicken, the entire
You can't form it to look like a chicken.
that would be a problem.
Yes.
But before Shabbat is okay.
Before Shabbos you could do it, then it's not a problem. But you can't break apart frosting with letters on it and things like this. Once the cake is cut, you can bite it even into it, because again, that's derech achila. You're not breaking it, you're just doing what you need to do in a regular way. Okay, that's basically it. You can cut between the letters. Okay. If you're eating it, you can do it right before eating.